Today we're going to be talking about the process of purchasing a home. We work with a lot of first-time home buyers, so we think that this information is good for them to know before they get involved with the process. So we're going to talk to Alex about what it's like to buy a home.
Okay.
So what is the process of purchasing a home, Alex?
All right. Well, the first thing is you need to be pre-approved. The second step is my favorite, which is a sit down in our office. Next thing in this process would be showing properties. After that, you find something, we like it, you want to put in a bid, that's an offer. After the offer, there's negotiation. The negotiation is sort of in two spots, but two different segments of it. First, we do an inspection to see if the house is a good house to buy and it's well kept. The other part of that,
after you go through the inspection, would be like
after the inspections,
opportunity to renegotiate.
right? And that's something we'll get into later, which is very important to me.
And then after the
that
inspection,
is the contract, which is created by the seller's attorney. And then after contract, we have a closing, which makes everyone smile.
yes, which is the end of the process.
Yeah, not my favorite part, but it's
All
a
right.
good part.
So back to pre-approval. What is that?
A pre-approval is from a lender, which could be a big bank or a small bank or a mortgage broker who's able to broker the best deal for you. And that is required. No other agent, even agents I'm friendly with, will put in an offer if it doesn't have a pre-approval. And it also protects the buyer because they will then know what they could afford, basically.
Okay, so pre-approval is basically just a piece of paper that says this is how much money you can spend on a house.
Yes.
Is it customary for a buyer to meet with an agent in the office, or?
I don't know why every single person doesn't do that. I think it's the best way to just meet someone in the office. I actually, one of the few things I don't like in the real estate business is waiting for someone to show up.
Yeah.
And to me, it just makes it a better transaction because we get to sit down and really talk and figure out what you really want to, I need to know what your needs are.
And I guess from a safety point, it's better to meet someone in a public space than in a vacant house.
Yeah, some people are uncomfortable because they basically read a review about us or something like that, or someone recommended them, but they don't really know the people. So I think it's better for everybody to get together.
Everyone involved.
And you get to know what we're all about.
Yeah, and find out if they're serious or not.
Absolutely.
So, since the next step would be to go out and see properties after you have this sit down, how far in advance do you usually have to schedule them?
I would love to have 2 days, but that doesn't always happen. So it's really case by case. You're in real estate. You know that we basically work 7 days a week. And so we try to get in, but it really should be at least 1 day. 2 days is even better.
Because sometimes you have properties that are tenant occupied or owner occupied, since they're still living there, and you have to give them, a decent amount of notice. So usually we say 24 hours.
Correct. Right. On our listings. Not everyone.
So when you take people out to go on showings, what are key things that you as an agent and them as buyers should be looking for?
Well, we're really learning about each other. They're getting a comfort level with the agent, and at the same time, we're seeing things, and we're sort of peeling away the onion on what they like, what's important to them, what's their lifestyle. Do they have to walk to the train, or do they want to take a bus to the train, or do they drive to the train? So
it's really based on the person themselves that's buying the house.
Right. And we are continually asking questions because we want to do the best job for them and wind up with a really good referral.
Yeah, exactly. What information is necessary when you're ready to finally pull the trigger and make an offer?
what's necessary for to make an offer. Like I started off with, the pre-approval letter. That's a must. Without that, you're getting nothing. You're not getting a counter. It's just throwing out nonsense.
So if you have a mortgage, you need a pre-approval letter, and then if you're cash, what do you need?
Cash, you need proof of funds.
Okay.
Which could be just a bank account, or you could someone could send you a 401k that says it has X amount of money in it.
Would you recommend that a buyer negotiate their own deal?
Well, I don't recommend that anyone does surgery on themselves, so I really wouldn't want. I first of all, the fees included already, because whoever's selling the house that we're looking to buy from them, is they already have a set fee, whether it's a 5% commission or a 6% commission. They're already paying. They know where their cost is going to be.
So working with a buyer agent, there's really no disadvantages because the seller's paying the commission.
Correct. The seller already has a relationship because that person knows them, met them, and they have a relationship. The person coming in, the buyer coming off the street, or
like let's say you just walked into an open house one day, like you don't have a relationship with the agent that is showing the house.
That agent in the house is trying to get the most money for that seller because he has a fiduciary responsibility to them. And if you break that fiduciary responsibility, you lose your license. It's that simple.
You said before that once you start negotiating the process, you get an inspection done. Can you tell us about what it's like?
This is one of my pet peeves. So a lot of people don't understand what the inspection is for. The inspection is to find out what you are buying and the condition of it, and what it will cost to make it the way you want it. And a lot of people think, we pay $500 or $700, whatever. They're all over the place, the cost of the inspections. And it's not like, okay, I'm gonna spend this money on the inspection and now I'm gonna renegotiate and get all of this. Especially me as a listing agent primarily, I rarely give up anything in these because it's a lot of nonsense, and a lot of these inspectors are not familiar with local codes. We just had that on the place
over
that we just put under contract, where a guy said, "Oh no, this is a fire hazard." Meanwhile, it was a tracer wire. I mean, I don't want to get into details, but seriously, my dog could do a better job. Anyway.
Whatever inspector you're working with should really be familiar with the area.
It helps.
Okay.
It helps because every
It
town,
helps the buyer the most
every town has different rules.
So if someone's looking in Long Beach, like you want someone who actually knows the code in Long Beach.
Correct.
If you're a buyer, because you want someone that's going to advocate best
right.
for you.
I mean, listen, someone who's lived through Sandy and things like that know that it's a big plus to have a local.
Exactly. So once you finally come to an agreement after the inspection, you want to go to the contract. Who is responsible for reviewing the contract for the buyer?
After you have an accepted offer and you finish the negotiating and doing the home inspection, then the seller's attorney will draft the contract.
Okay.
And after their attorney will read it over, call them in, or have them DocuSign, or go in person and sign. Then they have a certain down payment, because that's one of the things that were negotiated.
Part of the contract process is to negotiate what's in it. So instead of just negotiating the price, now you're negotiating the terms.
Correct.
Which I guess comes with the post-inspection negotiations.
Right. So if there's nothing wrong with the house, they will send out a contract. It will then be looked at by the buyer's attorney, and then they will sign it. And and send in their deposit 10%, 20%, whatever they're putting down at contract.
Should a buyer know which attorney they want to use before even starting the
No,
process?
you're good a couple of days before. It's not going to hold it up because they still have to create the contract. We have people who will do it in a day if you want.
Yeah.
So it's easy enough to call up 3 different attorneys, see which one you like the best. And go
or
with
your
them.
agent can refer you to multiple attorneys.
Right, we have
and
plenty,
you can
don't worry.
shop around a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. So once the contract's finally signed, everything's been settled.
Okay.
Seller, buyer both signed the contract. How long does it take to get to closing?
I would say 2 months with if you're taking out a mortgage. It should be about 2 months.
So 60 days.
Yeah, COVID's over.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Well, during
Yes.
COVID, it was like 90 days, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Extra slow.
Very slow.
What's to be expected at the closing table? Who's going to be there?
Okay. You usually, if there's a mortgage, let's just say if there's a mortgage, you're going to have a bank attorney.
Okay.
Because they're the ones who bring the money. You're going to have the buyer's attorney and then the seller's attorney. And then some agents come, some agents don't. I've gone through all kinds of different processes on these, but it is really nice to go to the closing and everyone's super happy. The people who are selling are so happy to be going down to North Carolina, and the people who are buying are so happy to finally get into Long Beach. And they just, it's a nice, happy thing.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was in a business where everyone was like fighting and crazy, like garment center thing. And it's really nice to have happy instead of like I won, you lost. And
usually everyone's pretty happy at the closing table.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What happens? So do they go over like the contracts again? Like what?
It's pretty boring. It's shuffling papers back and forth.
Lots of signatures.
You're gonna sign 30, 40 things that you don't even know what they are. They get explained to you in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But,
And the title person's at the closing.
The title,
too, right?
yeah. There's another thing. This is that's really scary. Is there's a lot of phony phishing scams where they look at you and they could figure out, like a scammer could actually get into your computer and they figure out how that this person is buying or selling a house because they see the emails going back and forth from the lawyers.
Yeah.
So you have to be super careful that you speak to someone who you actually know when you're doing any kind of forwarding or like wire transfers and stuff like that.
Transfers.
It's a major problem, just like everything else.
Like when you're doing a wire transfer, always call and confirm the instructions with whoever you're supposed to be.
So you're sending it to the wrong place because once it's gone, it's gone.
Don't have an email conversation. Don't text. Make sure that you have a formal, like, on the phone conversation if you can't do it in person.
Right.
Because the scams and stuff are really scary. You got anything else to add?
I
think
I don't know.
There's no wrong with like going and using like a buyer's agent. Like it doesn't cost you anything.
No,
they help you schedule everything. They help you negotiate. They have information about the area. They're really like able to guide you through the whole process without.
Yeah, no, this is something we do every day. So there's no reason not to.
Yeah. There's no real disadvantage. It's really just
right. And listen, the most precious thing that we have is time. And we don't want to waste our time or we don't want to waste your time. We just want to get you there.
Yeah. So is there any kind of agreement that you'll have your clients sign?
I like people to sign a buyer agreement. I sort of call it like a I think of it as like you want to use us and we're happy to take you through the entire process, but we want to get paid at the end of the day, just like anyone else.
You don't want to, take someone around, spend hours of your time. Well, we wouldn't want to do that, or spend hours of your time.
Right.
And then you go into contract with another agent in the area.
Yeah, no, it could happen. So we need our protection, and you guys need your protection.
It happens all the time.
It does.
So that's why it's
Yes,
best
get that
to-
buyer broker agreement.
yeah,
It's the way to go.
just to ensure that.
Because we
You
can
know,
only
we're-
work with so many at a time.
Yeah, and you can only it's not always for a long period of time. So like you could just
You could do it for 2 weeks, or you could do it for 2 months. You know, and listen, anyone ever wants to break a contract, you know, as long as it's legit, I don't care.
Exactly. So if it's really not working out, you can always
That's it.
you know.
You have to be with someone who you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Anything else to add?
I think that's it.
Awesome.
It's a wrap.